Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to talk about facial bones, and here at the side you can see the diagrammatic representation of skull showing different bones in different colors. So let's talk about this facial bones and start with the introduction. Facial skeleton is made up of 14 bones, most of which exist in pairs, except for a few singular ones. These bones don't just give the face its shape, they also create cavities for the eyes, nose, and mouth. They also anchor muscles used in facial expression and mastication, and they also house the opening for respiratory and digestive system. Now let's talk about bones of facial bone. There are nasal bone, that is two nasal bone. There are two maxilla, two zygomatic bone, one mandible, two lacrimal bones, two palatine bones, two inferior nasal conchae, and one vomer. All of these combining to form 14 facial bones. As you can see here in diagram, these bones are there. And now let's talk about these bones one by one. First we have is nasal bone and facial bone. Here you can see in the diagram the green color bone at the front is nasal bone. This is the pair bone, that means there are two bones in every skull. Location is at the bridge of the nose, and this function is to as a small rectangular bone they form upper portion of nose and support the cartilage that shape the lower part. Next bone in facial bone we have is maxilla. That is also the paired bone. That means there are two in every skull. And there you can see in diagram the green color bone that is holding up the upper teeth is the maxilla. Its location is upper jaw and central face area. Function: it houses the upper teeth and forms part of the orbit and contributes to the hard palate and nasal cavity. Each maxilla contains a large air-filled space called the maxillary sinus. Next facial bone we have is zygomatic bone. As you can see in the diagram, the white color bone is the zygomatic bone, and it is pair bone. That means there are two zygomatic bone in every skull. Location is at the cheek area. Function: it forms a prominent cheekbone and the outer edge of orbit. These bones articulate with the temporal bone to create the zygomatic arch. Next facial bone we have is mandible. That is unpaired bone. That means there is only one mandible in every skull. As you can see in diagram, the blue color bone that is holding the lower teeth is the mandible. Its location is lower jaw. Its function: the only movable bone of the skull, it holds the lower teeth and provides attachment point for muscle involved in chewing and speech. Its speech structures are like the mental foramen, coronary process, and condylar process. Next facial bone we have is lacrimal bone. As you can see in the diagram, this the lacrimal bone is like light brown color here, and it is pair bone. That means there are two lacrimal bones in every skull. Location: inside corner of each eye socket. As you can see here, its function is as that the smallest facial bone, they form part of orbital wall and contain the lacrimal fossa where tear drain into the nasal cavity. Next facial bone we have is a palatine bone. That is the pair bone. That means there are two palatine bones in every skull. It is located at the rear part of nasal cavity and hard palate. Its function is to form the posterior portion of hard palate and contribute to the floor of nasal cavity and part of orbit. Next facial bone we have is inferior nasal conchae. That is also the pair bone. That means there are two inferior nasal conchae in every skull. They are present at the lateral wall of nasal cavity, and as they are curved bone, they help to increase surface area and improve airflow, aiding in warming, moistening, and filtering air before it reaches the lung. Next facial bone we have is a vomer. That is unpaired bone, and it is located at the midline of nasal cavity. It is a flat bone that forms the lower portion of nasal septum, separating the two nostrils. Now let's talk about the whole summary or conclusion of this lecture video. Facial bones are more than just architectural element of human face. They are essential for critical life functions and sensory experiences. By supporting muscles and shaping the passages for air, food, and sound, these bones allow us to eat, breathe, and speak, and express a full spectrum of emotion. And this was all about the facial bone. Hopefully you liked the video. If you do, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment. Thank you for watching.